We're Batman at 89.
Hello, and welcome once again to Bat Minutes 89, the podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and lay limply in the dancing arms of Tim Burton's 1989 Batman movie, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And yo, I am the other one, John Parker.
So you've got too much of a Friday feeling in there for much like a John. Most
Considering,
unorthodox.
yeah, it's Friday. We're going into the weekend.
And once again, on this Friday, we're joined by, sadly, the final time for this movie. But, you know, we're doing the other one, so she'll probably be back. All the way from Cabin Minute Cast, Molly Bailen.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back.
Yo, yo, yo.
Woo!
You've been watching like loads of Stallone movies? What's happening here?
Yo.
What is this?
I did it!
I was going to start doing a Stallone impression, and then I realized I had nothing to say, so I would have just been like,
Yo, Vicki! Make it bat-related.
Well, I think someone did mention, I think it was on Twitter the other day, someone was talking about allegedly Stallone was up for Batman in this. I don't know. I've not seen much to that effect, but
It can't be true.
it would have been crazy, though. Because I've seen some people critique Christian Bale's Batman, because like, well, Christian Bale has a bit of a lisp. So you could tell by his lips and the way he talks that would be Batman if you knew Bruce Wayne. But if Stallone was Batman, and you had him go, yeah, with this dumb you, everyone would know instantaneously who it was.
That'd be amazing, though. I'd love it. Hey, yo, I'm Batman.
Like, hey, might stand a better chance in this minute, though, if it was Stallone. But, yeah, today we're talking about minute 108 of Tim Burton's Batman. Minute 108 begins with the bat taking a pounding, and it ends 1 minute later with him still taking a pounding. So,
Oh, jeez. Niall, this is PG.
you know, I think we're open-minded here though as well. But, you know, the whole bat outfit's just some. I mean, we'll get into it deep in the next movie, but there's a fetishistic thing to the whole Batman outfit that's going on. But anyway, that's next movie. So, but we do get where we left off last minute with the one competent Joker goon who's finally stepped up and who's actually able to deliver some efficient pain to Batman here.
It's a brutal bat beatdown.
I love I just love this whole scene. I love the music playing and the kind of the waltzy, the Wurlitzer-esque, kind of carnival quality to this waltz that's going on, juxtaposed with Batman getting the absolute crap knocked out of him basically. And I do have to wonder though, like, we're to take it that this is non-diegetic music, like this is on the soundtrack, we're hearing this, but within that tower, I guess, unless Lawrence had it on his boombox and he pressed play before he fell through the floor, there is no music. So this is kind of like, those weird YouTube videos where like someone's just taking the music out of music videos and stuff. I would love to see it done here, like just to see what this would have been like. Of just like,
that's a good point though, because Joker's dancing.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Lawrence. Why else would Lawrence be there? But then why wouldn't you at least see the boombox?
And then
even in the background.
Even then as well, the whole business, as has happened several times throughout the film already, is like, well, who stops when the song stops? Is it just like the tape just plays on and there's nothing else on the tape, or what is this? But
these were the problems we had back when Spotify and randomize weren't a thing. The
tape been great if it was a Spotify random playlist, and then like after this, I don't know, like Blank Space by Taylor Swift or something started playing. Now
I really want to make Spotify playlists for the characters in this movie. We should do that.
Although, in an unrelated, well, it's tangentially related note, as we tend to do. Because I know the most famous of those YouTube videos of just taking out the music in music videos. The most famous one that always pops up to me is the Bowie and Mick Jagger dancing in the street. And
Oh, man.
I'm always infuriated though, because like maybe about 11 years ago for Halloween, me and my friend Burns, you all don't know him. Well, I know John knows him, but no, the listening
No one
audience won't know him. But we dressed up as David Bowie and Mick Jagger in the Dancing in the Street video, and we spent the whole Halloween dancing around, and nobody got it. And it was infuriating, because now everyone gets that.
Oh.
And it's just like, at the time, we're like, oh, it's just this video they did. And it was really, really goofy and stuff. And people were just like, huh? But nowadays, that would kill. And, we're just ahead of our time in Halloween costuming back then. But tragically, that was a costume. That was back when I had hair and everything, man.
Oh, no, don't.
So many things have fallen by the wayside. It's going to
Now
sound
you're
really
stuck
hipster.
here doing a podcast.
It's going to sound really hipster to me, but like we did the dance in the street thing before. It was cool. But technically, I mean, it was always cool because the song was like 30-odd years old. But we did do that, so I'm just putting it out there. It died that night, but I'm bringing it back to life and going, that was a thing that we did, and now it's out in public record. So.
Well, with regards to this minute, I really like this fight scene, right? Because we're getting to see Batman in action in a slightly different way. Like he looks quite competent at martial arts again. Like he's actually doing some pretty cool moves, some cool kicks, and I like as well how Joker isn't even remotely paying attention to any of this nonsense. Like he's dancing away.
Because someone's handling it.
Yeah. I suppose he can trust this goon.
Yeah, I wonder if this guy is. He must be like a recent hire because we've never seen him before. I don't think. And actually, it is notable. Like, it's a thing. We should have been keeping track of this throughout the whole movie, I guess. Apparently, according to that interview with Richard Strange that we brought up a few weeks back, he says that there was actually like a hierarchy of the goons, and it could be told through the cards on the shoulder of the jacket. So if you look at, I think Bob had 4 cards, and this guy has 1. So it might be like he's literally just new blood, and they've only just got this guy, so he only has the 1 card, and then you have to work your way up to Bob level, essentially, like the military or whatever. So that's the thing we should have been keeping track of, I guess, but we didn't.
Well,
sorry.
So what's carrying this guy to glory is his ridiculous levels of zeal.
Yeah.
He is. He cares quite a bit. One of the things I noticed when I was doing research is I guess it's like a pulley. That's real. That's not a prop. That the stunt guy, Dave Lee, who is the stunt guy for Michael Keaton, did not realize that was a real thing being swung at his head, and had asked Clive Curtis, who is the goon, like, well, I didn't know this was legit. Like, what would have happened if I would have ducked? He's like, oh no, you're competent. It's fine. You would have been fine.
Would he be fine? Jeez, I did not know that. That's horrible.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, Jesus Christ, like maybe have something soft just in case. But yeah, he just presumed he'd be competent enough to duck and it'd be fine.
Yeah, that is one of those real real bad excuses though. Of like, well, what would have happened if you hit me? It's like, well, it didn't. Or like, oh, you would have been fine. It's like, no, you probably would have killed him. It's one of those, like, I know over here well, not over here, back in Ireland, up in Belfast, they're insanely proud of the Titanic. Like, they are immensely proud of that they built that ship.
Well, it's mentioned here too.
But oh yeah, well, they've got connections all throughout the two islands. But because it was built in Belfast, of a whole real big thing. Like, we built the Titanic, we've got a Titanic museum and all this kind of stuff. But there's always that thing like, well, it sank, right? Like, it's nothing to be that proud of. And I think they have this kind of
for
thing.
Titanic minute.
I think they have that vibe of like, well, I mean, if that wasn't for that iceberg, it wouldn't have sunk. It's like, well, it did. so along these lines of like, well, like, well, what if you had hit me? It was like, well, I didn't.
But what if you did?
Yeah, it's just like, it's nothing to be, it's just a weird mentality to go in to approach this with, really. But as you mentioned, Molly, yeah, the guy playing this goon, or as he's known as Bell Tower Goon, is Clive Curtis. And Clive's been in majoritively stunt work, not too shockingly. A lot of English stuff. He's in It's all things you wouldn't think would require stunts. Like he is in he's in The Name of the Father, which is like, all right, maybe. The Crying Game, fair enough. But then he's in things like Game On, which was a really bad British sitcom from the mid-90s. I was like, I can't think of any incident where they would have required stunt work from this guy.
Can I just say, though, you say it was really bad, and it probably is, but that was like the biggest sitcom here at the time. Yeah. It was huge. So it depends how you want to view it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what stunt ever happened in...
But he also did like work for the Queen's Nose, which was like a children's program. And I remember that was also kind of bad as well. But I think of the whole thing was that I was like a little girl and she had like an enchanted 50p or something. And she rubbed the Queen's nose and like magic would happen and stuff like that. But that's what I was like, I can't imagine. It's like any stunt work involved in that. My memories of it is like maybe someone had to jump out a window once or something like that. You know, that would have been the extent of it. Yeah. And so all stuff kind of along those. He was on the Thunderbirds movie, the one they made mid-2000s. He did do some work for the. Yeah. Also did Fast and Furious 6. He's on there as well.
Woo!
Yes. Yeah. I you wouldn't think it, you know, David Lynch being my favorite director and whatnot, but I love Fast and Furious. I have them all on Blu-ray.
Really? That's surprising to me.
I don't even like cars. I don't drive. But they're so good. They're so good. Oh, my God. They're the evolution of the 80s action movie, at least from 5 onwards.
But way
wow.
to be fair to him, though, way earlier in his career, he did do, because he's in like The Spy Who Loved Me, Alien, Superman 2, American Werewolf in London, Octopussy. So you know what I love about the English? Octopussy. Yeah, I must have seen that movie twice.
Yes.
But of course, though, the one most important to us, he did some work on Aliens as well, View to a Kill, Brazil. But most importantly, he was a stunt arranger on 4 episodes of The Bill. So
yes, again.
To be fair, The Bill, I can't imagine there would be stunts in that. That seems...
Yeah, it's a cop show. I mean...
Yeah, that's up there. It's in their wheelhouse, I guess.
That makes sense. That was fascinating, because I didn't even think to look that guy up. But Joker does one of my favorite things in this movie now, because he turns to Vicki and says, without you, I just wouldn't want to go on. And then he shoots himself. Oh, wait, no. It's a joke gun. Bang! I love those things. And it makes me think, because I'm apparently white trash from the South of America, makes me think of wrestling. Because Stone Cold Steve Austin did this when he kidnapped Vince McMahon. And he was going to shoot him live in the ring. And it was exactly the same as this. Like, same gag.
But I do love in the shooting, because even though like they've always been told there's prop gun, etc., when Jack, when the bang comes, he does a bit of a flinch. Like he has a very visible like on his face, because he knows he's like, this might poke me in the eye or something. Like he's.
And maybe it's loud still, you know, like on the set.
Although I'd have to say, like, this bang gun then, because this is the same gun he took down the Batwing with, that was the big long-barreled one, and now he's telescoped it into a smaller one, and now it has the bang in it. It's kind of like, this is insane custom-made gun, because it's like, it has one shot in it that is powerful enough to take down a jet, and yet it only has that one bullet in it, and then it also has a chamber that has a little bang flag in it. And then, because afterwards... Vicki screams and he bursts out laughing, and then he throws it away. Like that was, he has no further use for this gun. Like he was like, this is the 2 things I want to achieve. Well, he was getting someone to build this for him. He's like, I want to be able to take down a jet, and I want to be able to pull off this one little joke of like someone thinking I'm going to shoot myself, and then it was just a flag that says bang. You know?
I'm having visions now though of him taking down the Batwing by a giant bang flag coming out of that long barrel and poking it out of the sky. Just boop.
Like it's something like a rally or something. It's a huge draping flag.
Yeah.
And trying to
just nudges it out of the sky.
Oh, I just, in this moment, I would presume that maybe Vicki would like kick him in the nuts and run because he doesn't have a gun anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, she ducked a posy before, which I thought was very impressive. So, I mean, he could still have that on him. But, you know, I understand you're being held hostage in a gun situation, but if the gun is taken out of the equation, shouldn't this be the time to maybe not rehand him your arm to limply dance around waiting for a rescue? That perhaps this might be a point that you might want to, I don't know, take a run for it. You know, I mean, she's got, you know, he's old. Like,
she can outrun him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She doesn't even have shoes on anymore. Like, take off.
That's a great point.
What are you doing?
Because he throws it away. Yeah, like this is your chance, your one chance to get out of this. Because what are the odds that he's gonna either let her live or not, like, disfigure her in some way like he did his previous girlfriend? You know, he's gonna do something to you. It's gonna mess you up. Let's be honest. This is your one shot. And she's frozen, which, I mean, she's been through a lot in this movie, to be fair to her.
Yeah.
Yes, she has. But yeah.
She's kind of, you know, very, just not, I know that, you know, we've covered before that, like, she was written into this section of the film very hastily. Like, as a real last minute kind of like, oh, Vicki should be up on top of the tower as well. But she doesn't add much. Like, she's really, like, her whole thing, she's just very kind of, you know, I guess you could say it's like a Gandhi-esque, you know, peaceful protest, and she's like just lying limply in Joker's arms as he dances around and whatnot. But yeah, she just her whole thing is just more like, I feel a bit bad for Kim Basinger, considering though she allegedly wrote, you know, helped John Peters write this section of the movie, if you want to believe that. But it's kind of like it's one of these.
Why don't you believe it?
I don't know. Just John Peters is a guy who brags about a lot of stuff, so I would take like 90% of what he says with a pinch of salt, really. But I just feel a bit bad. Like, Kim is just like, oh, I want to be up on top of the church tower. It's essentially just to be like the damsel in distress. It's a bit more like, well, you know, you seemed a bit more competent. Well, actually, during the parade, she didn't really do much there either, I suppose.
No,
she ran over Knox, which was, you know, a bonus, but.
I believe she did roll up some windows in the car.
Yeah.
So she was able to save herself in the car ish.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And then she went to look for Batman in the crash wreckage, but then he just got out of there himself. So yeah, Vicki posts everything in Vicki's apartment. She has been a fundamentally kind of useless character, really. Like, it's unfortunate though, because Kim is doing a great job playing her. So it's like. I just wish it had been given. You know, we could say, to be fair, like, some people will probably be like, "Oh, you'll find in a couple of minutes." She does distract the Joker in a couple of minutes, but it's one of those things of like, well, did that really add much though to what was happening? Like, I'm pretty sure Batman still could have got the drop on the guy, even if you didn't do that whole, you know, pretending to be in love with the Joker for a split second thing. So
yeah,
it's a shame actually, because she is so important for most of the film. And then, she kind of just turns into post-Jabba's Palace, Return of the Jedi Leia. You know, it's like, well, why is she even in the movie at this point? Like, she's not doing anything. They haven't given her anything to do in that movie. It's a bit like that. Like, what? Vicky's not doing it. Like, she was so important in every scene, pretty much.
But she's lucky enough, though, that they didn't saddle her with an exposition scene, which was just... to this day, is still bafflingly like it's out of a completely different movie, or it's like we have to get this whole "you're my brother" thing out of the way.
It's my favorite film, but that scene is like the worst scene.
Oh, it's insane. It's literally like it is like something out of the prequels, and it seems to come like it has that real vibe of as if George Lucas, you know, obviously he was like, "Oh, this Richard Marquand's directing the movie," quote unquote. But this seemed to be more like I'm gonna do this one.
Yeah.
And it was a real realization, like, oh, this guy just doesn't have a clue how to direct actors, because these two excellent actors are terrible in this scene, and it's crazy.
Unlike in our movie here, where these two are doing well with what I mean, she's doing. We've just dissed what the character's up to, but as an actress, great, no problems.
I don't know, you know, Kim delivers in this movie in a big old way, so I have no problems with the performance, but I just wish that I can't imagine nowadays this would have been.
No.
They would have given her more to do. Although, to be fair, I guess even the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Gwen Stacy's fundamentally, at the end of it's just doing the same kind of thing, so...
No, that's fair. Yeah, and I agree. I like her as Vicki Vale. I've always liked her as Vicki Vale. Like, no, I have some, and again, not our mandate, but speaking about, Batman Begins and Rachel Dawes and... Yeah, I didn't know that the ex-Mrs. Tom Cruise did a great job in that particular role in comparison of, like love interests. But I felt that, Vicki Vale was a good, that Kim Basinger was a good choice for this. She's never annoyed me. I always thought that she was well cast in it. I just kind of dug, I dug her. And I think, and I know I'm backtracking a couple of minutes, but I always really liked Michael, and I know he was a controversial choice, but I always liked Michael Keaton's take on Bruce Wayne and Batman because it always felt really knitted up to me. It felt really holistic. It felt like he was that these two sides really were two sides of a person. They weren't two different people. He was, 100% on that. And I always liked that he had, he's got excellent boundaries. I mean, just like the last minute with, the pancake boundary, the pancake flipper guy, like, here, I'm going to give you a boundary. I mean, he had a boundary with her in the Batcave of like, yo, girl, really like the night, like you a lot, but hey, I got stuff to do. So, like, and on one hand, I'm just like, this is like trying to like deal with like some serious childhood trauma and like facing the guy who killed his parents, and now he's got to deal with a one-night stand up there too. It's just like it's an extra, it's complicated.
Well, that's interesting hearing you say that because as you've probably heard, actually, we've been bringing it up throughout the show how they get together for a one-night stand kind of thing, and then she's like determined to make it a relationship, and he's just trying to get rid of her, which is terrible. It's awful. But it's interesting that you didn't take that kind of view there. It's more like, oh, it's another problem for her. Like maybe he shouldn't have done it, okay, but yeah, that's a bit of a different angle on it because we were just like, oh, Bruce, how can you do that? That's so.
No, he's being a dick for sure, like for several, and yeah, he keeps trying to dodge her, and you guys made the point, a couple episodes back of like even the call with the museum of why didn't he just call the museum and let her know like, hey, obviously there's a mistake, and he just doesn't do it.
No, I think he uses her as bait. Basically, he's like, well, obviously this is something to do with that guy, the Joker or whatever, so I'm going to wait for him to pounce and then I'll swoop in as Batman. That seems to be the only logical explanation, because you would ring to go, that's not me. Like, I'm not me. And you're but, Bruce.
Bruce. Jesus, Bruce. But yeah, I think he just failed on the communication protocol in a very confusing manner. So I feel I like her. I appreciate she wants to be up there, okay. It's a strange situation. I just feel for the guy. He's just going through some like emotional trauma right now. And I don't know that he needs the baggage of a one-night stand that's wrapped up in it. So help a brother out. That's all I'm saying.
That's a new one for us on the show.
If Tim Burton listens to this show, and he'd be like, finally somebody got it. Somebody got the whole message of what this movie was actually about.
That's what he's trying to say all along.
It's like I had to dress it up in a whole bunch of other weird stuff, but this eventually at the heart of it, that's what it was.
Well, yeah.
But actually, before we because we kind of want back to the bang gun, because I should mention because the bang gun's one of the Joker's kind of more standard weapons. It's a thing he comes up multiple times throughout the comics. I actually weirdly enough, I couldn't trace the first comic it was in. I thought that would have been a thing that would throw out at you instantly, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But it's featured in, I think we've mentioned before, Dreadful Birthday Dear Joker, which is partially the inspiration behind the big pink cake parade float that featured in that. And it also has a bit with the Joker tricking Batman with a fake arm, which that he has, which pops up in a couple of minutes as well. So maybe Dreadful Birthday Dear Joker was a major influence and the climax of this movie somehow. But yeah, the bang gun is Bat fans will know it is features in the Killing Joke, the major way at the end of that, where the Joker pulls a gun at Batman and it's revealed to be a bang gun, and sort of like that diffuses the climax of the whole. Spoilers for the Killing Joke there, by the way. But And then in the episode of Harley Quinn-Aid, which I believe we talked about when Stephanie was on a while back. Yeah. That's when when Harley Quinn's literally about to kill the Joker. She's about to shoot him, and he's doing a whole "you don't have the guts," and she actually pulls the trigger, but it's a bang gun, and she didn't know. But then the whole thing is the Joker's like, "Oh baby, you're the greatest." That makes them up. That she actually had like the gumption to attempt to kill him. That made him kind of respect her all the more and whatnot. But and then obviously a major way it plays into the return of the Joker. And the original ending, which I think now has been pretty much re-edited into, canon, is the actual ending of that movie, which is, I don't know, have either of you two seen the animated Return of the Joker movie, or?
I have not.
No.
Oh, it's great, but it's a Batman Beyond film, but it deals with somehow the Joker has reappeared in Gotham, and it's a whole great thing of like Bruce keeps saying it can't be him. I know it's not him. And even when he's confronted with him, it's just like, it's insane. It looks, it seems to be him, but it's not. And then you're kind of like, oh, well, how do you know it's not the Joker for sure? And he's like, well, I saw him die, and it goes into a whole flashback. And it's really, I remember I saw it when I was a teenager, and it's really intense. Like you get this flashback where Robin's gone missing. It turns out the Joker and Harley Quinn have kidnapped Tim Drake Robin, who's like a little child. He's like 12 years old, and then Batman comes to find him. And as he goes in, the Joker starts showing him like a projection of like, this is what I've done to him. And it's like him electrocuting him and stuff and really torturing Robin.
Ooh, geez.
And then it's like, he reveals like, oh, I noticed you had all these kids around. And then like me and Harley were trying to start a family. And then I figured, why don't I just take one of yours? And then he brings out Tim Drake Robin, and he's dressed up in Joker gear, and he's got like a demented grin on his face and a real blank stare. And he's just laughing. And it's like, this is what I've done to him. And I was like 13 when I saw it. I was like, Jesus Christ. And as a whole thing, the big confrontation between Batman and the Joker, and then Joker gets Batman on the ropes, and he brings in Tim Drake and gives him a gun. He's just like, go ahead, son, shoot him. And, Tim Drake's about to do it, and he's cackling away, and then it pushes the trigger, bang, flag comes out. Hey. And then the actual uncut ending then has, the last minutes, Tim, turns around and actually shoots the Joker through the chest with like a harpoon. That's in the gun as well.
Wow. And
that's how the Joker dies. And the animated series continuity, that's how the Joker dies. And it's and then Tim Drake breaks down. It's really emotional stuff. It's really intense, like. And it's
that sounds really cool. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great movie. So
hiatus episode.
Yeah, highly recommend if you haven't seen. That's it spoils me right there. But yeah, actually that's not the climax of the movie though. That's like halfway through they show you this flashback. But yeah, highly recommended. And most people, well, I know in my head now when I think of the bang gun, it was like, oh yes, the thing that Tim Drake killed the Joker with in that animated film. So
wow,
that's amazing.
Highly recommended.
Well, I did some research of my own because just after the bang gun, you see the gargoyle with Joker's hat sat on it. He's put his hat on the gargoyle. So I did a little bit of poking around, and I found the person online who now owns the gargoyle.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. He's on the show. No, he's not.
You had a guy actually sitting next to you like for the last couple of hours waiting to speak. Crazy.
Say hello. No, I found him though, and he. Right, there's a couple of bits of info I liked. Like the person, I won't go into the whole detail. You can find it yourself. But the person he bought it from, who was a tattoo artist who bought it for his goth daughter, he bought it off the back of a truck. He named it Sid, just if you wanted to know. Oh. And Sid lived in this girl's room for all of her formative years. Oh. So in the corner of her bedroom was this gargoyle, which is the coolest damn thing I can imagine, especially as a goth. What more do you want in your room? Perfect. And Sid is handmade. It's not cast. They've actually made this by hand from plaster, wood, and wire, which has then been artexed with a thick paint, so it looks like a stone kind of texture, as you can see. But despite not being made of stone, he's really heavy, Sid. Like, he needs at least 2 grown men to shift him around.
Jesus.
Yeah, it weighs a ton. So this guy somehow bought it, off the back of a truck for his daughter and got it home, dumped it in her room for years and years, and then this fellow online's now
she might have
it.
actually hated this gargoyle, and she's like, well,
but she couldn't move it.
You realize how much effort it took to get into this room?
That will stay in your room, goddamn. It's like, Dad, I want rid of it. No.
It looks like it'd be a pain to even get through a door, so it's like, no, it's staying. Like it's.
I really, really want it, but I can imagine it was expensive. The guy didn't say how much he paid for it.
I do wonder, though, could we potentially track down the one of the people involved in that story? Like whether the girl herself or dad or the truck owner or whatever.
Well, I could imagine contacting the person who now owns it. It was his website that was posting about it.
I was just trying to see. If we'd known this. This is the only unfortunate thing of just researching these notes just before we recorded the minutes. I was like, we'd known that ages ago. We totally should have got them on. But
send in an audio clip. We can splice it in. It's all
I guess
good.
we can always do just put them in later on. Just be like, we could talk about over the end credits or something.
I was impressed that someone owned it. He said, the tattoo artist who owned it before him, I think he purchased it back in the day when you'd just sort of go to, you'd just buy random crap, basically. Because it wasn't an era of sort of selling off movie things as a collectible, apparently. It was more just we want rid of this stuff, so we'll just sell it as a big job lot. You can put in an offer and you can have the truck full. Yeah, and that was what it was. So he didn't know it could be a load of rubbish. I don't know what it is. And then he found this in there, this is cool. And then it turned out it was from this movie. It's that gargoyle right there. You don't get the hat. That's not included.
Sounds like one of those like a Storage Wars situation or something. Those shows where it's just people going around bidding on storage lockers that have been abandoned. They come in and it's just filled with random crap. But occasionally you might get this is the gargoyle from Batman or something like that.
Or this is the gun Hitler shot himself with.
It's usually, there's crazy things in there like that. It's just apparently for some reason someone's just abandoned this in an old thing.
I like that show. I never watch it, but I like it, if that makes sense. I watch it when I'm on holiday and I'm in the hotel getting ready to go out, and it's on the hotel TV. Basically,
that's a very specific time that you have to watch it. Occurs maybe once every couple of years.
Well, I remember last time I was on holiday, I put the TV on while I was getting ready, and it was that show where they trace their ancestry. I can't remember what it's called, Who Do You Think You Are or something. And it had, I don't even remember her name. This is terrible. The one from Sex and the City, whose family are all from Liverpool.
Oh,
the strange
Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, I'm on holiday. I live in Liverpool. Turn the TV on, and what do I see? Liverpool. I was like, what? I'm trying to get away from this damn place. I'm in Prague. I want to have fun.
Kind of going out of your way to be, those tourists who they'll go over to Italy, but they'll find the one British pub
to
sit in.
God, no.
We get it to people coming over from Ireland because there's an Irish pub in the Liverpool city centre called O'Neill's.
There's about 20 now.
I know, but that's one of them. But people come over. They're always like, "Oh, we're going to O'Neill's." It's like, that's the Irish pub. Why are you going to the Irish pub? It's like, you're in a different country, for Christ's sake. Why don't you want to go soak in some of the culture?
Exactly. If I was in Gotham, I'd be hitting the Gotham bars,
Or the Flugelheim, apparently. I'm assuming they got all those dead bodies shipped out of there at some point. But...
Oh, God. But where the hell were we on that? Oh, Batman. He's still in...
Gone.
He's still in combat. Now,
yes,
this confused me, right? Is it me being stupid yet again? The goon kicks the bell, and then I don't really understand what his reaction is.
Yeah.
He kicks it, looks at it, and then it sort of reacts like either the bell's hit him or Batman's kicked him. But the bell doesn't seem to hit him in the face. It's more he's reacting before it happens. So I don't know what's supposed to have happened.
That's what I was just looking again at the clip here to see what I think it's he's looking around for Batman. He kicks the bell, and then he hears that he notices that he's up above the bell. Cause I think he's trying to look down underneath to see, is he down there somewhere?
I misinterpret it as he's getting hit by Batman. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
But you Yeah, but you do hear the sound of the bell in tandem with the head movement going back. So it's very confusing. And I had that sense too, where of like, did you actually get hit by the bell? Because I don't see the bell hitting your face, but you're reacting like you got hit. So I don't know if it's just the sound of the bell being so loud.
That's it.
And his face being next to it that he's reacting to it.
That must be what it is. And I'm glad you thought the same thing, because that really confused me. And maybe it's the curse of breaking it down into these like minuscule, and analyzing everything you see. Because in the movie, I've never questioned that whatsoever. Like when I'm just watching the film.
Yeah.
I don't know, the thing is him looking underneath the bell as well, because it's the second time like they showed us a shot of the chasm underneath the bell earlier in the minute, and then him looking again. It's laying in like it's like Chekhov's gun. It's like Chekhov's chasm beneath the bell, because it's kind of like we're just establishing that underneath the bell is a really big high drop. Okay, just remember that. Put a pin in it. We may come back to this soon. But he's hoking around. Although no, this actually happened in that. Yeah, he was fighting Batman. Then all of a sudden, Batman wasn't there anymore, and now he's on top of the bell. I was like, how did he get there? Like, when did that? How did you take your eyes off him for like 5 seconds for him to even do that?
Isn't that Batman's whole shtick though? Just like he disappears in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, but it's usually when people have turned their back to him. He's in the middle of a whole big thing. So.
True.
I will say, and the weird kind of thing, I enjoy in Batman's fighting style in this, because I think it weirdly adds to the character. He's so completely sort of emotionless, which usually that would be a problem in these kind of things, because you want to feel, empathy for your hero and see that they're going through something. And, in Iron Man and whatnot, you'll get a close-up of Downey Jr.'s face and you'll see exactly what he's going through and whatnot. But I kind of like this interpretation of Batman is like he's almost, they've really leaned into him, been like, oh, he's like a complete psychotic, basically. Like he's very set on his path. He's very determined in what he's doing. And in the middle of this whole big fight, rather than like show concern and be like, oh, let's get into a bit of human empathy for what he's going through, he's so doggedly determined and just so, I'm in this fight and nothing's going to distract me. I'm completely committed to what I'm doing right now. And even though he's getting absolutely hammered, there's no fear in his face. There's nothing. He's just very much like, you could interpret that as like, well, that's because this is a stuntman and not Michael Keaton. But I choose to interpret it as being like, no, this is another addition to how when he's in the outfit, how like completely within that one track mind, kind of mindset he has.
Yeah.
And, so just, I enjoy that aspect of it anyway. So
I like that. And something else I appreciate. Oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, no, just super small. When I was reading an article, they were interviewing Dave Lee, and they had said that he was told repeatedly to not hunch his shoulders and to not, behave like a street fighter, because, he's scrappy.
Yeah.
And he's used, he's trained as a fighter. So they're like, no, there is a character of Batman. You need to stand up straight. You need to have these stiffer, more lateral movements. And so I think what you're pointing out here too is that the character is the character all the way down. Even as the stunt guy, he has to play Batman. It isn't just about him, exercising the particular moves that are what we associate with Batman. But I think that was something that I hadn't particularly considered. That they have to be Batman, whether it's Michael Keaton playing it like we're seeing, or it's the other guy who's actually taking a beating. So
I imagine that must be like a little bit of the joy of being the stuntman as well. It's like you technically get to be Batman in your performance as well. Like he had to be like, I have to, because like even when I'm playing like the Arkham video games, in my head I'm Batman. Like I'm really trying to get into the mindset.
Totally.
So if you're doing it for stuntman, you're like, no, I'm in character. Like I'm totally playing this part as well, rather than just like, I'm just a hunk of meat they're throwing around,
And we all know how you love being a hunk of meat, Niall.
I think it's not that kind of podcast, John. But anyway, we do get the Batman revealed somehow. He's on top of the bell, and Batman takes a dive. And
I thought I was watching a WWE match. Yeah, he just jumps right at him and gets thrown.
It is very much like it's Hell in a Cell. This is what's happening right here. It's jumping off the top of the cage. But of course,
it doesn't work, does it? It fails him.
well, we kind of get cut off here, but it's like, yeah, it seems as if this isn't going quite the plan. Like the guy sort of grabs him midair, and then we got a shot of some stairs. And it's like, well, I'm hoping this dive plan went according to, what Batman hoped, because it could have gone quite wrong here. But
looks like he's about to break his neck, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But we'll have to get into that in a big way next week.
Oh.
Yeah, but beyond that, in terms of notes for this minute, I think I'm done. Unless you guys, you have anything else you want to bring up, or
No.
Nope, that's it.
Well, it's usually in this time of the week, Molly, we'll ask the guest about their history with the movie and with Batman as a character and whatnot as well. So you have the floor now if you have a history and with the character and this film and whatnot. You want to splurge out over the floor or anything?
Yes. Well, Batman is my favorite of all the superhero characters. Batman is my favorite.
Yes.
So I'm especially happy to be here because I'm especially passionate about the character, and I'm especially passionate about this movie. This movie was, if you would have asked me for probably 20 years what my favorite movie was, it would have been this one. And I've seen it. Yeah, seriously, I've seen it like 30 times, and I saw it again recently, knowing that was going to come on, just to get the lay of the land and review it. And there were moments where I still remember dialogue from it because I've seen it so many times.
Hey.
And yeah, and so I have great love. I love Tim Burton. I love his take on this. I've seen all of the Batman movies. I've been a little reluctant with the Justice League that's come out, so I'm waiting on that a little bit. But everything else I've checked out, so I've got I've got opinions galore, so to speak. But I love Christopher Nolan's take on it. I'm a big fan, and I watched the animated series when it was on. So I think he's a fantastic character. What I've always loved about him is that he's not Superman. He was not imbued with superpowers that, and the joke of what's your superpower? Well, I'm rich. And that's it. He's rich, traumatized, and determined, and I love him for it. And he's just cloaked himself in darkness, and he has made a choice in his life and he's traumatized.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a traumatized dude who's living out a hardcore childhood trauma and has chosen to do this with his life. And, he has to negotiate the most limited of romantic relationships as a result of it, because that's a hard sell to, you can't really have kids and, go to PTA meetings and whatnot, when you're beating the crap out of people at night. It's a thing. So I've always loved him for that reason, that he isn't somebody who, got some kind of amazing, I don't know if you guys are like into Marvel and, X-Men and Inhumans and all that, but it's not like he, took some fish oil and broke out of the husk and now he's got some crazy superpower. He's made these choices. And, if you follow the canon of, going to Japan and training and, training with Ducat, and he's become this thing very, very consciously. And so that's why I really love him. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, but I'm here for love, not only of the podcast, but also of the character.
Hey,
so
that's what we want to hear. That's great. And since you're so keen, we are doing the next 3 movies over the next however many years that'll take. So you feel free to come back.
I will take you up on that. Thank you.
Do you remember when you first saw this movie, or is it one of those ones it's so early in your childhood? You're like, oh, it's just one of those sort of omnipresent things that you can't remember when you first saw it. It's just it's a thing that's always been there.
I do actually remember. This is how much I love this movie. I remember having a conversation because my cousin Brian is a couple years older than me, and I think you guys have a slightly different rating system, but for us it's PG-13. I think you guys have like a PG-15. I think on what this is over there. But I was 10 when the movie came out, and I had to hustle hard to see it because they were concerned that it would hurt my tender developing mind to see that level of violence. So I had to really lobby hard to see it. And I remember having that conversation with my older cousin, got to see it, and why didn't I get to see it? And I actually remember that still, and it's been, forever. So I do recall seeing it for the first time. I remember seeing it. We have these things called lock-ins where they lock you into a gym with a bunch of other hoodlums and you watch movies, and and that was a cool thing to.
This is you kind of alluding to some sort of life you've had as like a juvenile delinquent, where you're like, as punishment, we're made to watch Batman.
No, that was the movie we got to see. It was like at a YMCA gym thing. So you got to spend the night with other kids and play basketball and stuff. And so that was the movie that they played at night. And so that was the big thing, the big attraction to that was we got to see Batman. But yeah, I owned it on VHS. But yeah, I remember had to hustle to see it in the theater pretty hard to be like, I can handle it. I'll be okay.
I imagine you like talking to your family now and been like, oh, I'm going on a podcast analyzing Batman minute by minute, and they're like, I told you were not allowed to watch that. It's like,
how dare you?
Totally.
But like 29 years, man, come on.
Them attempting to protect, and it's like, no, see, can do whatever I want now. I'm an adult. Eat sugar cereal, see Batman. So that's my earliest memory of checking it out.
And also, as another question you probably heard on the show before, but we try to get everyone's opinion. Jack Nicholson, right? Sex symbol or no? Like what's your perception? Because you have alluded to the fact that like, he's so old in this throughout the last few episodes. So are you not in his camp, or what's your vibe?
Old can be sexy.
I'm not in the camp, man. I mean, I checked out Witches of Eastwick recently, so I think Witches was 87, and he's supposed to be, the sexy upstart there too. And I was just like, I appreciate the bravado, and I appreciate the creativity and the insanity, and I get that that's attractive, but it just doesn't do it for me. I'm just not. I'm not all about it, although he had a moment before, when he was like, quote unquote, Jack Napier before the acid trip. But yeah, I just, I'm not quite in the Jack camp with it.
No. So I know from putting it up on Twitter and whatnot that your co-host on Cabinet Minute Cast, Heidi, is very pro Jack. So it's gonna be like we could have like started sowing the seeds of discontent within the Cabinet Minute Cast.
What have we done?
We don't always agree in these particular. We did agree on Daniel Craig though as 007. That was definitely a straight up high five. So
really,
I think Daniel Craig in Casino Royale is a little more my speed. Jack just kind of misses the mark. Even tender young Jack, even peak form Jack, just still isn't. Not there with it. But I appreciate you asking, though. I think that's.
I think it's always been like, it's the attitude he has is what's sexy. It's not that he himself is a sexy man. Although weirdly enough, like you mentioned, like Daniel Craig, I'm a big fan of a sitcom called You're the Worst. I remember like one of the first episodes. The lead female character that goes on about how much she loves Daniel Craig, and her boyfriend's just like, Daniel Craig, like he looks like an angry baby, and then she's just oh my god, yeah, he does. And ever since then I was like, oh yeah, angry baby Daniel Craig.
Oh god.
Oh.
I always thought he looked very monkey like he looked a bit like a chimpanzee, but that's because maybe that's just me, I don't know.
I'm not going to see him the same again.
Wow. Now I'm gonna have to do a viewing and just try that on, either angry baby or chimpanzee, and kind of see how that lands. So I don't know what that means about my sexual attraction to men at this point, but I guess I'm gonna have to do some deep diving on that.
But yeah, I'm done for this.
That's
you guys are ready to go.
I am indeed. Sadly, we are ending this Friday, sending people off to enjoy their weekend. So have fun, everyone. I thought you were going to say something now.
That's
you guys should totally have fun. Yes.
This is like that's a really anticlimactic ending. John just told us there.
No, one last time, Molly. I'm sure the listeners know by now, but where can they find your fantastic show and whatnot online?
So Heidi Bennett and I are taking the movie The Cabin in the Woods apart minute by minute. You can find us at cabinminutecast.com and Cabin Minute Cast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And make sure to check us out as well, which if you haven't already, I'm sure you probably have, or you're just horrible and you don't, you listen to us, but you don't want to communicate with us. I mean, that's fine if you're nasty. That doesn't matter. But we are on Facebook at the Batminute 89 Listeners Society, and we're on Twitter at Batminute 89. And it'd be very helpful if you rated and reviewed us on iTunes. And join us again on Monday, because we will have minute 109. Can you believe that, Niall? 109. We're getting near the end. It's coming.
Yeah, like this now we're into the final confrontation. This is like this is it. We're near the end of the movie. So
I mean, it's been a lot of work, but I'm going to feel empty. I'll be honest. We'll deal with that when it comes. So join us again on Monday for more Bat Minute 89.
Next time, more dancing and ding-dongs. As the protracted pugilism proceeds, our protective protagonist is pounded into a peeling plummet. But for whom will the bell really toll? Find out next time. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.